What's up guys, Nolan here. Veritas and Jesse Kazam had Nikita On, the lead dev of Escape from Tarkov, on for a chat for their podcast where Nikita, as always, had some interesting things to discuss. Veritas and Jesse are going to post the full cast sometime in the next few days on their YouTube channel for the podcast, but the VOD is linked in the description for the Twitch stream along with their channels if you want to check them out. One of the first things that Nikita discussed was the priority of taking VoIP very seriously. As mentioned before, there is going to be ways to report people who misuse VoIP, and there will also be VoIP-specific bans as well as game bans for its misuse. VoIP will be turned off by default, and it will also be able to be muted in game as well. The majority of the team is working on patch 12.12 right now, but there will be another small patch soon with some bug fixes and whatnot, possibly version 12.11.5 according to Nikita. More recently, the team has put more effort and focus into production planning and team management, as once the move to Unity19 is finished, there will be a lot of doors opening up for them. According to Nikita, Unity19 is blocking quite a lot of the planned features that they have right now. When discussing the more hardcore and realistic facets of the game, Nikita mentioned that they may end up cutting some of the more hardcore features due to their production cost and player feedback, but he did not mention what specific features are on the chopping block. If I get my Q&A with him, I will definitely be asking this for sure. They spoke a lot about wild allegations and the disrespect the community can have while giving their quote-unquote feedback, and that's when we got this gem.
And it's always offending for myself and insulting for myself for somebody saying that we are cooperating, or like it's a good thing for us, like we do some additional money like with the cheaters and the cheat developers. Fuck you.
Yep. I mean, that's all I needed to hear.
I did a short rant about this recently, which is along the same lines. TLDR is that if you actually want this game to deliver, then don't give your feedback drenched in disrespect or toxicity towards BSG. Anyone I see doing that, I think of as a threat to the community, because it makes BSG not want to interact with the community more than they have to, which is already not a lot, but a lot more than many studios out there, so we do appreciate what we can get. Let's not screw it up. BSG, of course, want the cheaters gone and fully understand the effect that they have on the community, but that's a tough battle that requires a lot of resources from a team that is still developing a game while fighting off cheats. I've spoken about this lots of times in the past. With each patch, there needs to be a line that BSG draws where they need to stop worrying about the cheats and then just keep developing the game as they see fit. A lot of the engineers that would be working against these cheaters are also building up the network infrastructure or working on some of the feature implementation that are important to the game. When you get a blacked head or chest from a bleed, but you're still alive, that is actually a bug. Nikita said he didn't know about it, probably because everyone, including myself, thought it was meant to work that way. Nikita followed it up by saying, if you see anything that seems inaccurate or game-breaking, please just report it. They talked about boss difficulty, and Nikita said that he wants the bosses to be hard to kill and very deadly intentionally. He called Sturman a forest ninja here. He does recognize the sort of coin flip that you get where sometimes they're very easy to kill, which of course is not intended, and that's something that they're working on. Once the bosses are balanced to a place that they want, they will also balance any of the tasks that they are involved in accordingly. Nikita did mention one of his favorite things to do is surprise us with new features and seeing the reactions. He pointed to the PPSH in the 1911 release last year, as well as, of course, the cultists. So this made me wonder what else might pop up as a surprise. It's a nice thought, but we do need to be careful with our expectations, of course, with some of the delays that they're having, so we can keep things realistic. When discussing the economy, Nikita talked about the future dynamic approach with limited amounts of items, all linked to a player economy that gets messed up by dynamic as well as direct planned events. This is where I remind you guys again that the game at launch will be very different than it is now, since we are in a testing environment. If everything were too difficult to acquire right now, then we couldn't test it properly. Nikita discussed a new feature coming with the Lighthouse location, and seeing as he didn't then mention the in-raid trader, I think he might have forgotten that he already confirmed the in-raid trader before. It's either that or he was actually talking about something new, which I'm not sure exactly what that would be. Although he did later mention a new feature with Lighthouse based on community feedback, I just don't know if he is then referring to the same new feature as before, so it got me a little bit confused. And this is where I remind you guys that English is not Nikita's first language, so sometimes the translations get a little bit messy sometimes. Either way, it sounds like we're getting more than one interesting feature along with the new Lighthouse location. Then late in the cast, Jesse asked Nikita to just drop anything that he can on us in terms of features he is looking forward to in terms of their effect on the game, and we got something very interesting. He talked about player inertia, voice VoIP, radio sets, loot dead drops, and then about new exfils and infills to raids. Nikita specifically said infills to raids, but then smirked a little when Veritas and Jesse pushed him on it a bit. I'll just say it looked like Nikita knew he accidentally talked about something that he should not have. And this is, of course, talking about infills to raids. We know about inertia, we know about VoIP, we know about radio sets, and we know about the loot dead drops. The only thing here that stuck out was the word infill. So if this is to be seen as an actual Nikki leak, then how we enter raids are going to be changing at some point. And Nikita sees it as a significant change to the game. When we go to the guesswork and speculation, I would say this is something to do with map-to-map travel, as the raids will take much longer, and that was always a question of how spawns would work when you can move from map to map. There's also the unrealistic nature of everyone knowing how many PMCs will be in each raid. There's potential for them to be adding a mid-raid spawn for PMCs, and if that happens, that would absolutely throw a wrench into things. This could also be referring to the spawns that we have now. Will they be changed significantly somehow? We don't know. There's a bit of unrealistic fill in the blank that's done with spawns as they are now, seeing as you're supposed to be an intelligent PMC, and I don't know many intelligent PMCs who would want to start a fight in the middle of a field with a wall to your back. Obviously looking at the reserve spawns for that one. So maybe they're thinking of ways to give more power to players spawning into raids. There's a lot that this could be, and all we have right now is he mentioned infills specifically when asked what features he thinks will have a big effect on the game, and the facial impressions he gave made him look like he wasn't supposed to say that just yet. With all that put together, it seems like there is something interesting going to be happening with how we infill into raids. And that's everything from the POGcast with Veritas, Jesse, and Papa Nikita. Again, if you want to see the full cast or check out Veritas and Jesse, all of those links are in the description. But if you're looking for people to play with, check out our Discord of almost 9,000 people and a great looking for group system. For the latest Tarkov news, check out these playlists here. If you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.